Tragic shooting in Jonesboro, Arkansas, was Shannon Wright. A teacher at the Westside Middle School, Wright was struck down while heroically using her own body to shield a child. Her example followed by days a similar act of self-sacrifice during a deadly shooting in Connecticut. Such examples led us to wonder, what makes some people heroes? Allison Stewart details the search for some answers.
325 emergency.
Shots are being fired. Something's going on.
Who's shooting?
I'm not sure.
Okay, is he white or black?
No idea.
This desperate plea to police came from inside the offices of the Connecticut State Lottery.
You don't know if it's a male or a female?
No.
Okay. Does anybody there know?
The male or female? Male.
Okay, we got a male. A male has a handgun. Matthew Beck.
Matthew Beck, an embittered lottery accountant with a chip on his shoulder and a 9mm gun in his pocket.
Tonight's big story from Newington tonight. A disgruntled lottery worker pulls out a gun and starts shooting.
On March 6th, Matthew Beck shot and killed 3 of his supervisors. Then he turned his sights on lottery president Ott Brown.
The security guy said, run in the woods, and Ott stopped. So it's in my opinion he must have saw the gunman and continued forward as the rest of us were told to flee into the woods.
Witnesses say Ott Brown saved lives by leading the gunman away from other innocent victims, using himself as bait. Matthew Beck chased him for more than 100 yards. Then Brown stumbled, and Beck caught up. Ott Brown's last words, "Don't kill me." Matthew Beck shot Ott Brown twice before turning the gun on himself.
And I think Mr. Brown was a hero because I'm sure he saved a lot of people's lives today.
The next week, 4 funerals for 4 victims. Now all that's left are questions. Frustrating questions, like how did this happen and why did this happen? We rarely get answers. But there are other questions which matter just as much, like why did Ott Brown, an average man, sacrifice his life to save the lives of others? What makes a normal person act like a hero?
Eye on the right dome wire, low on the right fortune, offensive foul.
Today, Jerry Schemmel is a radio sports announcer. 9 years ago, he was a hero. Schemmel was on board a United DC-10 that crashed into an Iowa cornfield.
The emergency exit hadn't been very far from me, maybe 10 or 12 feet away, and it was gone. Where it was a wall of burning steel.
112 people died instantly. Somehow, Jerry Schemmel battled his way through the flames to safety. Then something made him stop.
I heard a baby crying, and the next thing I know, I'm back inside the wreckage.
Schemmel crawled back into the burning wreckage and saved the life of an 11-month-old baby girl.
I didn't think about the thing exploding. I didn't think about, well, I can't get back through the smoke to the outside again. I really didn't. It just sort of all happened with instinct.
And that's the thing about heroes.
They can't tell you why they did it. They express it as like a natural tendency. Of course I did it. Yes, absolutely. But even if you're an introvert, you might miss dealing with people.
Harold Takushian is a psychology professor at New York's Fordham University. He's been studying heroes for more than 20 years.
Is there any common personality trait among people who are heroic?
Heroes are more likely to have CPR training. Heroes are more likely to be in occupations that involve danger.
Of course, police and firefighters are always doing heroic things. That's what they do. It's us regular folks who have a choice. When we see something bad happening, we can intervene and possibly be a hero, or we can just walk on by.
So I wanted to find out why it is that people don't intervene. And as a psychologist, I know the best way to do that is with experiments.
So here it goes. You're walking down a street. You spy a suspicious-looking guy breaking into a car. What do you do?
But the main thing is to break in for about 60 seconds.
It's a real-life hero test, conducted on the streets of New York. Who will pass?
Why didn't you stop him? Why didn't you stop the guy?
I'm not talking to him.
And who will fail?
There was a man selling pretzels who said, I don't care which car he breaks into as long as it's not mine.
In a moment, you'll see the results of the Hero Challenge. What would you do?
A leader with names from two different worlds. I'm John Roberts, CBS News, with tonight's Person of the Century.
Sponsored by Image Anywhere from Canon, the new paradigm for the digital workplace.
Shouldn't your machine? Considering the perplexing mystery of what makes a hero. Before we left you, Allison Stewart told us the story of some real-life heroes. Now the question is, have you the right stuff? Are you heroic material? Allison's psychology professor puts our notions of heroism to a test.
Acts of heroism never cease to amaze. What made the hero do it? And would I do the same thing?
This is one area where psychologists have more work to do. It's a tough area to study. You want to attract the attention.
So Professor Harold Takushian has set up this experiment designed to test the hero reflex. That suspicious character is really the professor's assistant. The test: will anyone try to stop him from breaking into that car? Well, just watch. Once, twice, 3 times. The thief jimmies that car door again and again. And look at all the people just walking by.
Just a guy breaking in a car.
Just a guy breaking in the car?
But that's New York, right?
The experiment lasts 3 hours. In that time, hundreds of people turn to stare at the would-be thief. And get this, 2 people actually ask him for directions.
Right down the street. Make it right here, right up the block.
So the professor ups the ante. Maybe it's just too easy to ignore a car thief these days. But try ignoring a real live person in trouble. That's a brazen pickpocket working in broad daylight. Will anyone be brave enough to step in and stop this crime? Would you?
The criminals already know what I call the secret of street crime, and that is that we can do things in public and get away with it, and we can almost count on citizens to not intervene.
In fact, our thief steals that wallet again and again and again. 54 times in all. People clearly see him, but nobody tries to stop him. We just about given up hope. Watch the guy at the bottom of your screen. He's not about to let the pickpocket get away until our producer steps in to tell him it's all an experiment. Did you think about it at all?
No, I didn't think about it.
You just did it. You just acted.
Yes, of course.
Now, stepping in to stop a nickel and dime robbery may not sound all that heroic or even that dangerous, but it can be. Just ask Steve Palermo.
Hi, how are you?
Back in 1991, Palermo was a major league umpire. Some say the best ump in baseball. Then one night after dinner, he tried to break up a mugging and ended up with a bullet in his spine.
And as it hit my spinal cord, I was instantly paralyzed. From the waist down, there was no movement.
Doctors said he'd never walk again. But Palermo attacked rehab the same way he attacked that mugger.
One more.
1 year later, he walked onto the baseball diamond. Even more amazing, Steve Palermo doesn't think he did anything special. And maybe that's the most heroic part of all.
It's not heroism. It's living your life in a respectful, decent manner. And making sure that somebody doesn't commit a very grave wrong to somebody else.
Now, as for the test, before you say that's just New York, hear this. The professor conducted his hero experiments in 17 other cities in the United States and Canada and found that people everywhere did just about the same thing. Nothing.
In a special second